Hey everyone, Kevin Lewis here with Home Life Realty, and it's time for your November 2020 Fraser Valley Real Estate Update. For 4 months in a row now, we've seen record-breaking or near record-breaking number of sales in the Fraser Valley for total homes sold. October 2020 was certainly no different, with a record-breaking number, coming in at about 56% higher than the 10-year average for the total number of sales in October. So why is all of this happening now? Well, I still think a lot of this is pent-up demand, backed up from all of the stoppages when basically life came to a halt in April and May of this year. But I also think there's a lot to do with the strength in the market just in general, and the Fraser Valley Lower Mainland being a very desirable place to live. Put that on top of the super low, historically low interest rates that we have right now, and that's all fuel to drive the market to where it is today. As I mentioned in a couple of my previous videos in the last couple of months, one key factor that we're missing as far as the typical growth that we're seeing is that there is almost no immigration happening right now. Mind you, the immigration is typically delayed by about 2 or 3 years for the home buying process, considering the time it takes to get a permanent resident status in order to avoid that 20% foreign buyers tax. So I do think that we are going to see some repercussions on the lower end and the first time buyer side of things happening in about 2, 3, 4 years kind of thing, as the lack of immigration coming into Canada right now isn't going to be seen directly and immediately, as like I just mentioned, that PR status typically takes about a year or two, sometimes 3 years, in order to get that buyer ready to actually purchase a home. If you add that to what I said recently as well, where a lot of the unemployment is actually people who will probably be buying their first home in about 3 or 4 years as well, we're likely to see some stability in the market for the near future here. And I don't think there's going to be a big jump happening even in 3 or 4 years, just because that bottom end of the market, the first time buyers, is likely to be that much lower for the next few years to come. So I do think we're going to see some stability coming forward. Historically low interest rates are also going to be quite indicative that there is stability to come in the future, as the Bank of Canada isn't going to be giving money away for free without thinking that there's stability behind that there. Now, I know I've mentioned the word stability about 10 times in the last minute and a half alone, but there is definitely more stability, and we can see that in condo prices, townhouse prices, and even to some degree, if you look over it a long enough term, in the detached homes. Yes, we are up 10% year to year for detached homes, but we're only up about 3% from the peak that they were in about 2018, which is the only sector that's actually higher than they were in 2018. Townhomes are right about the same, and condos are about 3% below where that peak price was 2.5 years ago. The tricky aspect of condos, and what's likely keeping their prices down, is the ongoing insurance issues that have been plaguing the condos for the last year and a half, and to some degree townhomes, as they are lumped in as a strata association. Typically, in my observations, there hasn't been very many townhomes affected by the insurance issues, but when the news constantly says strata insurance, strata insurance, strata insurance, it gets drilled into the consumer's mind that it has to do with stratas and not particularly condo buildings as opposed to townhouse complexes. Whereas my observations are showing that townhouse complexes really haven't been vulnerable on the most part, some with exception to some older ones who, in my opinion, I would probably steer my buyers away from anyways due to lack of maintenance and upkeep in those buildings. They've seen their prices go up, but generally speaking, I'm not going to be pushing any clients to move into that type of property anyways. I do believe that we are going to see some resolve in the insurance issues coming up in the future. However, we haven't seen a whole lot of action take place towards that yet, but we have been in it for about a year, and we are seeing the cycle start over again now that we're in November, because it was September 2019, October 2019, and November 2019 when we really started to see these premiums and lack of insurance, for that matter, in some of these stratas. We haven't heard anything of major increases this year like we saw last year. So it does look as if there is a possibility that the brunt of the increases is done, and the insurance companies had lagged their increases for several years and said, whoa, we got to catch up. Now that they've done that, everything's caught up and they can just do their slowly annual incremental increases year to year, and that could just put everything underneath in the books, in the history books going forward. However, we do have to keep an eye on it going forward, as there is potential for some buildings to have drastic increases again this year. Now, if you are looking to buy into one of these condos, or not one of these condos, but into a condo, and you're a little reluctant because of the insurance issues, that is absolutely understandable. And while I can't do anything to guarantee that insurance prices won't go up, what I've noticed over the last year is that generally buildings that I would be steering clients away from due to lack of maintenance or mismanagement of funds are the buildings that are mostly affected by the insurance premiums increasing. And a lot of the buildings that have been in very good shape, they've certainly seen an increase in strata fees, but by a smaller amount, which is, like I said, more likely to do with the increasing value of homes that have happened so drastically, and insurance prices not reflecting that increase in the prices that we've seen. So it was just the insurance companies hadn't increased for long enough. Hopefully now that they've done their big increase, they're caught up and they're going to be satisfied with where the premiums currently sit. New listings in the month of October were down from the month of September, and actually down from October 2019 as well, which again, there's likely some speculation of the latest news due to coronavirus numbers going up, and some speculation that maybe some people aren't comfortable with multiple buyers coming through their home at this point in time. And it could just be that everything has shifted from the whole year, as we did see, like I mentioned earlier, the summer far outperformed the spring, which almost never happens in our market. So perhaps we've just seen that shift, and the fall is going to be a little bit different than a typical year because everything else was different. Well, we renormalize over the winter time, and if we don't go into another set of lockdowns, I do think that spring 2021 is going to be a very normal, typical, predictable spring market that will see a nominal increase in prices of about 3 to 4% like we typically would see in any year of growth. So if you are thinking of making a move in the near future, there's no reason why now would be a bad time. The only thing that I would say be wary of is your comfort level due to the pandemic. Now, on that topic, I myself am being very cautious with everything that's going on, and when I'm listing any homes for sale, I'm getting a full video through it, full floor plans, doing everything I possibly can to let the potential buyers have as good of an idea of what that home is going to feel like from their own comfort of their own home and the safety of their own home before they want to make a physical appearance in the home, just to limit the total number of people that are coming to visit the home. I myself am also restricting open houses to appointment only and trying to minimize the amount of people coming through. Masks are of course required, and several bottles of hand sanitizer will be placed throughout the home to keep everything as safe as we possibly can. So, but if that doesn't feel like enough for you, there's certainly no pressure that you have to list your home in any sort of circumstances, and your comfort is far more important than trying to push a sale through and being uncomfortable with doing so. So I would never want you to in that situation. However, if you are thinking about things, I am always happy to have a conversation and see what we can do to increase your comfort level, or just get a plan ready for once you are comfortable, and we can relist in the spring or late spring, early summer kind of thing, when, as we saw last year, the numbers went down drastically. If you are looking to buy, now's a great time just with those historically low interest rates, as you could lock in for 5 years for under 2%, which I don't think we've ever seen before. In my opinion right now, the best move to make is those that are looking to downsize into a condo or townhouse, as the detached home prices have gone up so drastically in the last 6 months compared to those other two sectors. I do believe that we are going to see townhouses catch up and have the same amount of growth, and depending what happens with all of the insurance issues going on, I do think condos are due for some growth over next spring. So, and these are just predictions based on all of that, if we don't see a large number of increases in the next 2 or 3 months for the insurance prices, I do think we will see next spring condos outperform anything else as far as their growth month to month. However, I don't think over a year's time that they'll pretty well balance out with the detached homes and townhouses, everything likely seeing a very similar amount of growth. So if you want to take advantage of that, now could be a great time to list your detached home and make that move into a townhouse and save potentially 7 or 8% on that townhouse or that condo. Now, of course, all of this could be wrong and everything could change, or everything could stay exactly as it is today, and making that same move 6 months could just be as exactly the same fiscal fiscal results that you're going to get now. But that's kind of how I'm seeing the market go. So whatever your plan is, make sure you get in touch. Let's go over it, because everybody's situation is absolutely unique and there's no one glove fits all when it comes to real estate and what's best for you in your situation, because your situation is absolutely unique to you. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone, reply to this email, leave a comment below. Whatever way you want to get in touch with me, I'm always happy to start going over a plan, even if it's 1, 2, 3 years out. We can start getting things going, start getting an idea of where you want to be, and that way once you're ready to go, all the information's there. It's not going to be, oh, do I want to do this? I don't know what the price of my house is. I don't know what the price I want to buy is. We can be ready for that 2 or 3 years into the future by having a quick meeting, even a quick phone call, Zoom chat, whatever the most comfortable way for you to talk is. To doing that today, tomorrow, in the next week kind of thing, I'm always happy to give advice any time of your moving cycle. Doesn't matter if you're looking to move in 2 or 3 years. So I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next month.